The game is called Make Leanne Pull Lots of Books Off of Her Shelf, Show Them to You, and then cry while she puts them all back. Like physical, actual tears. Have I mentioned that putting books back on my shelf is like my most hated activity in my entire life? And this is horrible. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Ta-da! Look, I do have legs. So I asked you guys last week over on Instagram to give me the number of a bookcase followed by the number of a book on that bookcase. And I promised to run around picking all of those off of the shelves. That's just right, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to judge all of the books by their covers once again. So here we go. I'm not going to show you. It's a surprise. I lost count. Literally the most energetic that I have been since this whole thing started, except for, you know, walking to my fridge. Made by Lyric picked Bookshelf 3, which is half Agatha Christie and half urban fantasy, in book 73, and we got Fire Touched by Patricia Briggs. How many books are there in the Mercy series anyway? 7, 8, 9. Okay, so this is book 9 in the Mercy series, so it's quite far through. But when it comes to judging books by their cover, I think you'll pretty much be able to tell what drew me into this series in the first place. All of the Mercy Thompson covers are absolutely stunning. These are some of my favourites. I love these books so much, but one of the things that I love the most about Mercy Thompson as a character and as a series in general is that she is entirely unapologetically badass. She's covered in tattoos, she's a mechanic who constantly has grimy, chapped hands. She doesn't really give a crap what she does with her hair, so she spends a lot of time with it like this. And she has owned herself in a genre which really does sometimes lend itself towards making the fantasy female leads, well, pleather semi-erotic biker chicks, let's be perfectly honest. In an entire genre of samey females, Mercy definitely stands out. So this particular cover gets a win from me. Okay, so next Laura Shadow picked bookcase number 5, which is this one behind me, and it is a weird mix between like horror, true crime, non-fiction, books about books, mental health and YA fiction. It's basically my catch-all of all of my bookcases, and we ended up with book number 25, which is right at the top in the horror section, and we got Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I promise you that my sigh is not for Frankenstein because I absolutely love this book. My sigh is for this absolutely hideous cover. This is the edition that I had to buy when I was in university. It's one of the Oxford World Classics editions, and some of the Oxford World Classics are absolutely beautiful books. Don't get me wrong, I love some of the covers from this series, but this one is just, it's so incredibly direly bad. One of the things that I think helps to make classics appeal to people now is that they are often really beautiful objects because a lot of them are out of copyright. Lots of different publishing houses get a chance to make their perfect cover for the book. And there are so many more beautiful editions of Frankenstein than this book. He's kind of like that emoji. No. So this one's a fail for me. No. Okay, so next we ended up on bookcase number 3 again. I was hoping for an Agatha Christie and I got one. Spotless Mind picked book number 47, which just happened to be the very first book in the Miss Marple series. This is The Murder at Vicarage, and I love the Miss Marple series so very much, but do you know what I love almost as much as the Miss Marple series? Is these absolutely gorgeous Agatha Christie signature editions. Harper brought these out a few years ago and I immediately decided that that was the collection that I wanted for my Agatha Christie books. I had owned such a hodgepodge over the years, and I have some really fancy editions of a couple of the big books from the series, like Murder on the Orient Express from Poirot, but I wanted to kind of cleanse my collection and start collecting all of the same edition, and these are just gorgeous. It makes me so happy, and this creepy little churchyard is perfect. Perfect for representing the text inside, so this is a win from me. And also a win just because I got to talk about Agatha Christie, because I mean, you know me, a basic. Next up, we ended up back at bookcase number 1, which is most of my fantasy books and some sci-fi right at the bottom. And I was really shocked because Nerdy Bookworm picked book number 53, which also ended up weirdly being the first book in a series. I absolutely love the covers for this series. You can see in each of the greatcoats cloaks on each of the books that there is a bigger scene going on, and I think that they're stunning. I have an issue with fantasy covers a lot in general because I find if they don't go down the very classic sort of parchment old painting kind of look, that they go to a really graphic and weird place that I don't enjoy. Granted, this one does have the mostly white backgrounds that make me think of Brandon Sanderson in the Mistborn series, unfortunately, but the rest of them is done really well, so this is a huge thumbs up from me. Book 71 picked bookcase 4, which is primarily my thrillers. Book number 66 was Final Girls by Riley Sager. I should also point out that when I split this up for a buddy read way back, I left all of the tabs in it, and I don't know if you can see, but they're all like, I thought it was very appropriate for the book. It's really good, it's really fun, I really enjoyed it. I absolutely hate this cover. I hate all of Riley Sager's covers. There has not been a single one, either UK or US, that I have loved. And this one is, I think, at the very bottom of my list for 2 different reasons. The first reason is that this is one of those stupid velvety covers that just gets fingerprints all over it and collects dust and doesn't stay clean, and I don't understand them. Just why? Why do we have them? They're gross. Secondly, this really like super pink fluorescent thing, I'm not about it. I've discussed this before when it comes to thriller covers, but they seem to either do one of 2 things right now. They have a random faceless girl fading off into the distance, check, or they do spooky woods with a massive graphic title, also check, and I'm done with both of them. Neither of them work for me. Also, for the record, this fluorescent pink is never going to hold up on the bookcase. Look at the difference. This bookcase is not in direct sunshine, like, ever, and look at the difference. So yeah, it gets like half a mark for the sprayed edges, but this is a massive miss for me. Greenheart31 wanted me to go back to my fantasy bookcase yet again, but this time we were looking at book 59, which was one that was crammed on top of, you know, a beautiful Unbreakable series, and this is a perfect one to talk about the front cover of, because this is, temporarily forgot the name, Uprooted by Naomi Novik. The reason that this one is such a good one to talk about the cover of is because I actually ended up buying the US edition of this, which was a super unpopular opinion at the time. This is the UK edition, which again, I think really lends itself to the kind of Brandon Sanderson fantasy books that have been brought out recently. Again, Traitor's Blade kind of fell into that category. The very stark white with the dark colours, and it's beautiful, don't get me wrong, I really liked it. But I like this one better because I am the type of fantasy reader who likes old maps and old looking paintings on my covers. And this kind of gave me all the things. It has a kestrel, there's like a 3-headed serpenty dragon thing, there's knives. Essentially this was just everything that I wanted in a fantasy cover. And I still haven't read it. I haven't read it because I'm actually really scared about this one. Opinion amongst my bookish friends is completely split down the middle between people who really love it and people who think that it's absolute trash. And I have been a Naomi Novik stan since the very first Temeraire book. cannot express to you how much I love this series. It is a Napoleonic alternative history series wherein dragons are a vehicle for serious destruction during the Napoleonic Wars, and it's great. It's part historical, it's part fantasy, it's got talking dragons, it's amazing. It's a great time. And so when I heard that Naomi Novik was coming out with a new book, I was like, I'm really excited. And then the hype train hit and people started to trash it, and I was like, oh, don't take away my love for Naomi Novik. So yeah, I love the cover, but I haven't read it yet. Whoops. Next, the wonderful Steph from Novelty Corner here on BookTube wanted me to go back to bookcase number 3, which made me very happy because I was very hopeful I was going to get another Agatha Christie book, and I did. Steph picked book number 14, which is Murder in Mesopotamia, which is like halfway through the Poirot series, I want to say. Yeah, it's book number 14. It's quite far through the series. It's a Poirot mystery. People die. He's very clever and also sarcastic, and he solves it, and you probably aren't going to see it coming because Agatha Christie doesn't give you all the pieces all the time. I love it, it's not for everybody. But these signature editions, once again, absolutely win the day. This is stunning. It's absolutely representative of what happens in the book. Great England, Leanne. Fabulous. And one of the things that I didn't show you about the Miss Marple cover that I will show you about these ones is that on the back, not only does the gorgeous design carry over, but we actually have a list of the Poirot books in publication order, and it highlights the book that you're on. And that makes me really freaking happy, because with Poirot, while it doesn't really make that much of a difference where you read in the series, it absolutely does with Marple. So I say that all fantasy series should do that, and urban fantasy series. I'm looking at you, Mercy, and Kate Daniels, and any Shauna Maguire encrypted book, and Rivers of London, and you know, anything else that's down there that's guilty of not telling people which book you are in a series. I see you, publishers, I see you. Second from last, Clegatha picked my weird mixture bookcase over there, and this is one of my mental health memoirs. So book number 99 was The Centre Cannot Hold by Ellen R. Sachs. This is a memoir about schizophrenia from a very unlikely source. I'm just going to quickly read you the tiny little bit on the back. It says, Ellen Sachs is Professor of Law and Psychiatry at the University of Southern California Gould School of Law. She is the author of several books, happily married, and has schizophrenia. I love that normalisation of it. That makes me incredibly happy, and I really love the cover of this book. It really talks to the contents of the book and the way in which the author's mind works during her battles with schizophrenia. The blurred edges, the swinging into the abyss of it, it is just, it's a perfect cover for this book. And if I had seen this cover without knowing anything about this book, because this was one of the books that I heard the synopsis of and then went and purchased, but if I had seen this cover sitting on a bookstore shelf, I would absolutely have gone and grabbed it. I think there's a tendency with memoir covers, especially mental healthy, to either make them really like boring and grim and look like they have nothing to do with the contents just in case somebody's offended, or make them really bright and like eye-catching and look, you want to read me. And I think that this one happily does not do any of those things, so this is a big thumbs up from me. And finally, back to my random shelf of randomness, Tansy Bradshaw asked for this bookcase in book number 118, and you did not get me, girl, because I counted on from book number 99 and I ended up with Jellicoe Road by Melina Marchetta. We're not doing it again. I'm over it. It's not happening anymore. By this author who I love very much and is very amazing, and everybody should read. The end. This is a YA book about a private school and the underground war that it is quietly having, and yet it is, as with all of Melina Marchetta's books, not about that at all. It is about mental health. It is about how we relate to other people. It's just, all of her books should be required reading for life by everybody That's all I'm saying. There are very few books in Melina Marchetta's backlist which I don't like the covers for, except for this cover for Saving Francesca, because what is this? What is this? But anyhow, there are very few books in her backlist that I do not immediately and absolutely love the covers for, and this one is just perfect. It's just perfect. It's an example of when a photograph on a cover does it right as far as I am concerned. So this is a massive win from me, and you should all go and read everything that she's ever written, starting with Saving Francesca, but just don't pick that awful cover, because... So, that was me ripping my shelves apart for you. I hope that you have enjoyed this next edition of judging all of the books on my shelves by their covers. There will be more, because there was tons and tons of people who gave me shelf numbers and book numbers to, you know, just ruin my life with. You're welcome, I think. You're kind of welcome. You're a little bit welcome. A tiny bit welcome. I'm now going to go and try and put these all back in the places that they came from while slowly cursing at you. But in the meantime, tell me, what do you think of the covers? What do you look for specifically on a thriller cover? Does it really influence you a lot? Or are you somebody who really doesn't give a crap about any of the aesthetics and you just want to read the contents? Meaning, really, are you a Kindle user? Do you enjoy it when publishers put the publication order of a series on the back? I know I do. Did you hate any of the covers that I loved? Are you somebody who is pulled in by a cover, or can you really kind of ignore them when you're browsing and it's just kind of nice if it ends up being a nice object for you to hold? Tell me all of your thoughts, and tell me if you're also somebody who hates the velvety covers, because surely I'm not the only one. Please. I can't be the only one. I hope you're all staying safe and well, and that you are being kind to your mind. And I will speak to all of you very soon. Bye! This is at least 3 biscuits worth of work. I'm gonna have to get the supplies first.